Hi, this is Zak Mir with the Bulletin Board Heroes here at Zak's Traders Cafe for Wednesday, the 9th of April. Starting off with the FTSE 100, where it looks as though we're getting a little bit tired of trying to get back towards the 8,000 level. Basically, the recent highs have been between the August low there around 79.20 and then the main previous 8,000 support area. RSI, which has kind of faded at the 30 level, which is never a good sign, or rarely a good sign. It also suggests that below the initial target on the downside there, 77.30, we have a risk of a retest of the lows towards 75.44. So not in a good place. Really need to see an end of day close back above 77.30 to try and decelerate the downside here, where we can't actually rule out a fresh leg to the downside, and even the old 2024 support there, 7400. Moving along to the DAX, and here with a bit of a respite earlier yesterday, but then we're back in the bin now. All about the 200-day line there, 19,950, and an end-of-day close below that. We could be looking at a partial or even full retest of the recent support there at 18,500. Probably now need an end-of-day close through 20,500 to feel safe that the downside has been fully explored. The other point to note is that we are back in oversold territory, but had an RSI 30 failure. Again, never a good look. Moving on to the Dow, which is the villain in all of this, I suppose. And here, all the way down to we go back a long way to see where we're down to the lows of basically December 2023. So all that good work of the last year and a bit given away. You can see there the previous support there around 37,500. Below that, difficult to rule out a move down to the old December 23 support there. It's 36,000. RSI at 21, so very oversold, but not oversold enough to rule out further downside. Moving on to Bitcoin, and here picture still rather mixed. We are sort of dangling near the February-March support area around 76 to 77,000. We have the old pre-November resistance around 73,000 as potential support on this move. RSI is still oversold at 36, so have the risk really of 73 to 74,000, even if this market then regroups after that. Moving along to gold, which had been the golden child until very recently, but even here some people have decided to take profits, maybe to cover margin calls and losses elsewhere. But staying above the 50-day line there, it's 29.44, and staying above the February resistance around 29.50. Can't rule out testing both those areas, even if this market then pushes higher, given the way that the RSI is now below neutral 50 at 45, and therefore we are in a bearish tilt. Moving on to the stocks, and not many of them actually, and has to be said there was a bit of a anticipation coming in with the update due from Audioboom today, but in the end it's been a bit of a damp squib. We've got resistance there at £4.50, which was previously support last month, and below that we've got a risk of a test of the main 2025 support there towards £3.50. RSI has been below neutral 50 since the shares broke down below the £5.50 level last month, and the way things are going doesn't look as though that is going to change, and as I said, £3.50 a risk at the moment. One of the rare bright lights in the small cap area is Catenai, and obviously after getting its money, I think £500,000 or so in the bank, current situation is that, as suspected, we are bouncing off the floor of a rising trend channel base, or rising trend channel base there, and the 50-day line at 0.17. Certainly while we're above that 50-day line, looking for 0.32. Best case would be up to the top of the channel there, the upper parallel, the size 0.45, but let's try and get to the 0.3 zone first before we get too excited. Genuinely bullish trend here from Kazera, and sort of a rare bullish trend, a rising trend channel there from this time last year, top of the channel there heading for 2.3 pence, and we've managed to bounce even in this market around the 1.4 pence area, while we're above the floor of the channel, looking for up to 2.4 by the end of next month. Amazing, there's been no fundraise from Premier African taking advantage of the recent rebound in the shares with this V-shaped bounce there above a rising 50-day line. If it wasn't Premier African and there wasn't the constant fear of a fundraise, one would be looking for up to 0.07 on this situation rather than just 0.04, and the 200-day line. I think we've been above the 200-day line for well over a year, in fact, since the summer or August 2023. So getting up to even the 200-day line at 0.04.5 would be something of a miracle. RSI rebound above neutral 50, which is another plus. And as I said, if this wasn't Premier African, one would possibly be quite excited about its prospects. Ideally, we stay above 0.02, the 50-day line. Finishing on with Rome Resources, where it looks as though things are slightly less fraught in the DRC. That might be a reason or an excuse for some people to look at the shares around current levels. If we do maintain the 0.15 zone or recent lows, then the initial target here up to 0.23, the top of that falling wedge that we've had in place since the autumn. That's it for me today. More updates tomorrow.